And we're going to start off with the car news. We're going to have Q&As throughout, so any questions, just drop them in the comments and I'll do the best I can to answer them while I'm going over the news. Check out the membership page. We do videos before they are released, so you can see them probably a few weeks, few months in ahead. And we also do different short videos, which we've been putting shorts on Tuesdays and Thursdays, different questions in the community tab, so also check those things out so that way you can stay engaged with the channel and see everything up to date. We're looking to get some new merch. You can still get the merch that's through the merch store, but we're working with some new teams to get some different designs as well. And any questions or anything that you guys would like, don't hesitate to leave comments either during the live stream or even after it. And we're going to dive in with I'd like to start off with the recalls before we start off with news. And the reason why I want to start off with the recalls is because everyone is always talking about reliability. That seems to be like a number one topic, but nowadays we're starting to see that not necessarily something that is being done by automakers. So for instance, on the recalls, we're going to start off with GMC with the 6.2 liter V8s. That's the L87 engine. They still don't have a fix for it, and basically what happens is you take your vehicle in. If you have the recall, they're going to test it to see if it is failure, and then they'll replace the engine. But that's not necessarily a fix. It's kind of a quick fix because ultimately they had some issues with the production of them. Almost 1 million recalls of today, up to today, which is quite a bit. Ford has had over 850,000 recalls on the F-150, the Expedition, and the Navigator for fuel pumps. Engine fire risk, they have around 694,000 on the Bronco Sport, the Escape SUV. The Toyota Tundra still has issues with their engine for recalls, and even some hybrids. Not as many in the hybrids, but on the non-hybrids, they have a ton of them. Mazda has airbag issues, which is actually weird because I just saw one this past week. A guy took his Mazda 3 in, and it was a recall for the airbag. I guess the guy just touched the dashboard. All of the airbags deployed. So now they're basically saying, should I keep the car or not? It was on one of the forums. Nissan is #1 in customer satisfaction. Yeah, I guess it's. We'll get to that one in a bit. I didn't have the greatest satisfaction. It took 3-4 months for me to get all my payout for the buyback that they did, and it took almost a year for a buyback. And Nissan North America doesn't really help with anything because they have different teams that you have to actually talk to in order to get things moving. And one of the teammates that was getting our vehicle for the buyback quit. So we had a lot of hiccups, and it's kind of unfortunate, but that's what happens when you're working with any corporate team. So the Mazda CX-30 and Mazda 3 have the airbag issues. They also have an engine start-stop problem on the CX-90. I like the CX-90, all new vehicle a couple years ago, and now they're having the issues with that. Basically, it's like a reprogramming type of thing from what I've heard, and it turns off, but then it won't restart, which is crazy. Honda with 1.4 million recalls on Hondas and Acuras, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows that they're under federal investigation for basically having manufacturer defects in the crankshaft that could lead to premature wear and failure in the engines connecting the rod bearings. Hyundai has some issues with the Santa Fe on recalls for the engine losing bolts. The Santa Cruz, this one just blows my mind. That's why I'm telling you about it. They have an issue with the park. Even if you're not holding the brake, it could just disengage and the car can roll off. They are having some issues with the Santa Fe for software for the transmission. So where I was getting at with these recalls is literally there's no such thing as reliability right now because every company has just been diving into trying to change for the EPA, which the EPA has scrapped all of that now. And now we're stuck with all of these variants for the past, I would say, 3 to 4 years that could be problematic if you buy them pre-owned. Took me 3 months for Volkswagen Group to buy back my ID4 Pro S, made 16 lease payments, only had 1,716 miles, screen going on and off continuously while driving. Yeah, I actually had a issue when I reviewed the ID4. I actually showed the problems. The screen wouldn't work, so I had to come back and then refilm. And then when I came back, they had an issue with tires. And at that particular time for 2023, I'm sure you're aware of, they were having some issues also with tires, and it was just like really crazy. But that's actually pretty decent 3-month turnaround for Volkswagen to do the buyback, especially. I mean, it makes sense because that's their all-electric variant, the ID4. They did a lot of advertisement for it. With Nissan, I've had 2 buybacks. Both were Infinities. My first buyback took probably about 6 months. This one took well over a year. We put probably a good 10,000-ish miles, and they were not at all easy to work with this time. Made out like a bandit, hired an attorney. I was going to hire an attorney, but with the circumstances, it wasn't enough on our side to get a buyback, even though we had 2 major issues. We actually had 3, which is basically Florida law. But the problem we had is we bought it in Virginia. And because it was in Virginia, it reimbursed me 16 reimbursement. Well, that's good. I mean, so they got everything back. We lost, I would say, maybe 12,000, but then they gave us 14,000 to get a new one, and then they threw in some other crap basically to offset things. So it was kind of like a wash, but then we ended up losing the V6, and now we have a VC turbocharged 4. As for Cadillac news, the Optic V Series, the Escalade IQL, we're going to be bringing them to the channel shortly. The IQL Escalade, that's the long one. It's huge, which the IQ itself is crazy size. Lease payment returned in check for 10,000, and they paid 2,500 of my 4,000 return. So it was kind of about the same then, because we lost about 3,000. So yeah, I would say it's about the same. Hey James, how are you? Good to see you as well. That's another reason why we didn't go the lawyer route, is if you work with the company, it kind of is about the same way as working with a lawyer. The difference though, the lawyer sometimes, depending on the case, could get you a little bit more money, and it can be a little bit faster process. But usually I recommend trying to work with the company first. We did it with both of the buybacks on Infinities, and they both went relatively smooth, except this last one because the woman quit. And then they had this kind of garbage information that said that it could take up to 90 days to get your full return back. Sadly, I was actually ahead of payment. I literally had the car basically paid off. We owed like $5,000, and we were paying like, I think $1,500 a month. The car payment wasn't that. I was paying like 3-4 car payments a month, and the money that they held from me was all the money that I paid in advance. So I was really disappointed with it, because I said, you're punishing me for paying more money on the vehicle than I should have. That doesn't make any sense. I got to wait 90 days for that, but it is what it is. 2026, the XT5 is going to have some updates. They're going to have a dark theme and an Onyx light package. Standard 360-degree reverse camera, digital camera, heads-up display, automatic parking assist. This is all going to be on the Sport and the Luxury trim. So I think they're doing a good job with giving all those safety features and making the vehicle what it should be, because the Germans unfortunately still don't like to do a digital rear view camera, which is garbage. Offered me $5,000, so it wasn't worth. No, so whenever you go through the buyback process, when you're talking to North America first, they're not going to offer you anything. They're going to just give you garbage. There's an actual formula. You can Google it. It's like you times your miles by, I think, 180,000, and then you divide it by some number. It's only like 3-4 different numbers, and it's the same for every vehicle. And that's what you would subtract. Oh, you divide it by the number of miles that you put, and that's the usage charge that they'll charge you. So that would be minus off of your MSRP, or what you paid, less anything like upgrades. Sometimes they like to charge you for upgrades, but usually they'll give it to you. So then if you're having the issue where they don't want to do that and they're just trying to give you like garbage money, now you need to escalate it to a different department, because North America, all they deal with is just like a little stuff. So what I would do as advice for next time, if you ever have an issue with any company, is Google like the CEOs, the CFOs, the head of marketing department. those type of people if you are having issues with any buybacks, and you'll get a phone call probably within 2 hours, because that's what I did with both of my buybacks, and the smooth process afterwards, because they don't want to have any blowback on this, especially with one of their vehicles that was at the time performing really well. Lexus for 2026, the LC500 is going to have 200 units. It's a limited series, but it's really only going to be like styling for North America. For the interior exterior, they're going to have 350 units for the convertible. The NX, which we have a 2026 NX coming, all trims can now option the F Sport. Oh, I need to pay $700 for for the miles, and they reassessed my 2022 Tiguan and gave me $8,000 more for the trade during COVID. Yeah, during COVID, people could have made out like a bandit. If I would have traded my vehicle at that time, I would have got like 15 grand. I waited, I ended up getting $7,000. So don't be hesitant in different markets. If you see that the market is gold, get rid of the product, because you could get a better product. Now, the only issue is during 21 and 23, some 23 variants. So 21 to 23 variants, they had some chip issues which had problems with the vehicle, a lot of computer issues, and I would say there was a good 10 to 13% of every automotive industry that has some kind of problem where check engine lights come on. There's just like, I don't know, something with the chip. Lost me on my case. Oh, they lost? The Volkswagen Group lost on my case. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, anytime you do a buyback, if you have, depending on the state, you usually have different categories that you have to go by. So like the state of Florida, if you have 3 of the same thing happen, that's a major issue, then it's automatically eligible for buyback. In most cases, I would say a good 70 to 80%, the company will just buy it back, so they just dissolve the problem. But again, they're going to go by that equation. If you have to go through that extra extent, like I said before, Google the big top people in the company, and then they'll send you to who they need to in order for you to get the buyback. Because otherwise, it's just going to be back and forth. I am in Florida, Fort Lauderdale. Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm in Tampa. So I was going to get a lawyer, like I said, but again, when you do the lawyer thing, you end up having to do everything through the lawyer, and most of the time you have to pay up front. Sometimes the lawyer will take it on contingency fees, but it just depends on the circumstance. For the RX on 2026, we're also, they're going to have a special appearance package that's available in the F Sport handling and the F Sport performance, and they finally are giving us a wireless charging pad standard on all trims. 3 repairs for the same issue in 24-month period. Yeah, you could have up to 3 years. So it's not just 24 months, it's 3 years for the buyback in Florida, and 3 of the same repairs, or 3 major repairs. Our case for the 23 Infiniti was water damage. We had 3 different leaks. They fixed 2 of them in one time, and then the 3rd one in another one, but it took a total of 9 to 10 months to find them and fix them, because they obviously didn't believe me. And then when they finally saw, because I ripped up the floor to show them, because they didn't want to do that, they fixed the one side, but then it took another 3-4 months for them to fix the other one, because they said no, and I had to rip up the floor again to show them. ID4 was in the shop 6 times in 97 days. Oof. And they also take, if the car's in the shop for so many weeks in the state of Florida, you can also use that as a buyback, because you were not with the vehicle. And then what they can do also, because Cadillac did it when I had an XLR, I had an accident with the vehicle. Somebody ran a stop sign and hit me. It took 7 months for them to build a dash. If you're familiar with an XLR, it was from 2004 to 2009, 2-seat hardtop convertible. Basically, you can only get it fully loaded. The V Series came out the last few years, and then they discontinued it. But where I was getting at is GMC did not have a dash for it. And even the company was like, oh, it's going to take 25 grand to fix the car. We're going to, total it. They didn't total it because of the value of the car. But the problem I had is I had no car for 7 months nearly. So GMC gave me $2,500 for the wait. So anytime the car's in the shop for an extensive length of time, you can also request money. They'll pay your car payments. They'll do things. They'll give you a free rental for 30 days. They do these things to help people. And a lot of people don't go after this stuff. you are correct. In Florida, it is a 2-year, 24 to file a lemon law. Yeah, so I mean, if you have any problems, like get them addressed and documented. Save all your receipts too, because another issue that I had is the dealership wasn't putting all the receipts. So when I went for this buyback, they said you only went to the dealer 9 times, and I have like 30 different actual repair bills. They didn't put those repair bills in. They typed me up, they printed it out and erased it from the system. And companies do that, and it doesn't matter what dealership you do it through, they will do it because they're not getting money to fix the problem, so they can just erase it off your actual profile. So keep your receipts if you do have consistent problems, because that will happen also. The RZ for 2026, it's going to get more power, more range. Charging time is going to be faster, and they have a RZ 550e F Sport all-wheel drive, which is Lexus' first, where you could basically, like, I guess, gear shifting system, for the lack of better words. And it's going to be something, or it is, where like it feels more engaged in the drive for an electric car. Yes, make sure I had all of my repair orders. Yeah, because again, like, they want that documentation, and the dealership sometimes just takes it away. The TX, the only thing they do for 26 is they're adding, I think it's $500 to $1,000 increase in price, which we all know about the tariff thing. All the companies are going to do it for 26, even though they said, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They're starting to add the increase in price. They're also adding a red color, and that's going to be on every vehicle. Or it's also available on the F Sport. The NX350H, you can now option it with a front wheel drive. I don't know why I would do that, but you can if you want to. The F Sport handling is now an option on all trims, which is basically the same thing as the NX. Acura's ADX, we have a review on it. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I think it's a great vehicle. I'm not a huge fan of the CVT. 1.5 liter turbo 4, 190 horsepower, 174 pound-feet of torque. It has the motivation that the HR-V should have, but you pay more money to get it in the Acura, and I think the pricing is about 10 grand more. Now, the all-new NSX, it's going to be offered as an electric vehicle, and we should be looking at around 27 to 28. So I'm excited for that. I'm not so excited that they're only going electric. I mean, let me know you guys' thoughts on that. I feel like the electric phase is gone for at least maybe 5-10 years, unless it's like a Tesla, Rivian, and the electric vehicles we have. Cadillac has really dived head in on the electric vehicles, which we no longer get an XT4 and XT6 because of the electric variants that replace it. That being said, they'll still obviously make electric vehicles, but to make something that's exclusive like an NSX all electric, I think that we should have an ICE variant at least, or do a hybrid, do something. The RDX is going to get some updates for 2026, so I'm really excited to see this with the 12.3-inch screen. The Type S, that's going to have around 340 horsepower. That's going to be so fun to bring to the channel, because the RDX, it's kind of a unique trim. It's the engine itself, I mean, you got 272 horsepower. It's a lot of motivation underneath the hood. The interior is comfortable. You get the A-spec, you get the sporty style, but they were missing that Type S that they're bringing. The RSX, all-electric SUV, coming for 2027. Again, with the electric variants, I'm happy that they're coming out with them, but in the same aspect, give us a choice, because when you're just going full electric, that's one thing that kind of pushes me a little bit away from Cadillac, because they don't have a lot of ICE variants anymore. They're keeping the Escalade, but in the same category, all of their SUVs except for the XT5 is basically going electric. Mazda, the iconic SP, which is going to be electrified rotary powertrain. We're expecting to see it around 2027, 2028. I would probably guesstimate more so towards the beginning of 2028, maybe late part of 27, but it is definitely going into production. Awesome looking vehicle. If you haven't seen it, check it on their website. You can go through mazdanewsroom.com and you can see it. It's a coupe supercar, more or less, from Mazda, and I think they're doing a great job with the styling elements there. Porsche news, we have the update for the new 911 Turbo S. 701 horsepower. That is freaking nuts. Then the GTS is going to have the single electric turbocharge, whereas the Turbo S will have a 2 electric. And then you're going to have the new, well, that's on the new 3.6 liter flat 6 T hybrid, adding 61 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque, and Porsche is saying it's going to drop the 0 to 60 by 0.2 of a second, which is not a huge difference, but now it's going to top at 200 miles per hour. So it's expensive because the pricing of that is going to be around 270 to 280 grand, and the convertible near $290,000. You must live near my friends Kirk in Tampa. Maybe. We are not too far from Wesley Chapel area, so like Wesley Chapel and Tampa, we're kind of in between that area. The where was I at? Oh, they're gonna have bigger. It has bigger brakes. The rear has wider tires. The redesigned rear bumper, similar front air intake to the GTS, and the rear also has better ventilation, so it's a lot larger. And the wing, I think it looks a little bit more aggressive instead of just throwing a wing on there. You could still option a 2+2 on it, and it's free through Porsche. I mean, it should be at $270,000+, but you can option that on the coupe or the convertible. And for 2026, at some point, we're going to have a Cayenne electric. The cool thing about this vehicle, though, is the towing capacity is by far amazing. 7,716 pounds. I know a lot of people don't care about that, but you're getting 370 mile range, charging 10 to 80%, 20 minutes in a fast charge. It's going to be a longer wheelbase than the gas variant or ICE variant, so that means it's going to have more space in the interior. It's also going to be a little bit more elaborate in the interior. 750 horsepower on a Turbo S, 0 to 60. It should be this 3 seconds flat. Maserati news, I don't know if people know, but if you don't, the new MC Pura, it's basically the same thing as the MC20 that we have. The difference is the front bumper and the rear bumper. Hello, how are you? They have changed it a little bit, so it kind of has like the MC20 Stradale styling on the exterior. The side skirt now gets gloss black, same performance numbers. In the interior, they changed the seat design, but we have the sport seats, which if you change to the sport seats, you're going to have the same sport seats that I have. So the seating for standard seats now look like tire tread. The air vents in the center has been reworked, and the steering wheel, that's pretty much it. The new Quattroporte, I don't know if you guys haven't looked at it. I think it's awesome. It's basically a Gran Turismo that's 4-door. So they're going after the Panamera, and they should. And realistically, I think Maserati's going on the right direction with this vehicle because it's still a sedan, but it's more elegant and performance driven, giving that electric styling. Kia Telluride, the engine being the Kia Telluride is going to have the new hybrid 2.4 turbo 4, the V6. I couldn't find for all the confirmation. We have a couple different Kia teams, and they were kind of back and forth. But I know the exterior design and the interior design because you can see through different websites, and you can also get it through Kia. They'll give you information. It looks awesome. I think that because Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis, they're all pretty much, underneath the same umbrella, you can't really make something that looks good, like a Palisade, look bad when it comes to the Telluride. And I think that the Telluride really looks usually more aggressive, even with the older Tellurides that haven't got the refresh compared to the older Palisades. The new Palisade looks amazing. Nissan Pathfinder, we don't know yet if they're keeping the V6. There's some talks about the VC turbocharged 4 that's in Infinity. And there's some talks about a hybrid powertrain that's going to be added, but that's not 100% confirmed. So if you guys are hearing different, let me know. But as of right now, Nissan hasn't confirmed any of that. The exterior styling, I'm not usually a huge fan of the way Nissan does their variants opposed to Infinity because their lights, the headlights, for instance, they're just huge and bulky, whereas when you go into Infinity, they're more elegant. So you have the styling elements as an essence of the QX60, but then it's more like chunky looking. Just don't feel it fits the vehicle, but I mean, it's a huge savings For the big news, BMW has released the iX3. Looks like electrified, awesome styling, I think, except for some of the cues that people might not like with the kidney grille that integrates into the longer but not so wide headlights. The exterior styling, I mean, we knew that they were going that route. It's on an 800 volt architecture, 400 kilowatt peak charging, 230 mile range in 10 minutes. So that is pretty substantial. The charging time itself and the speed has increased 30%, BMW has said. So they're really moving forward with this with a 400 mile range. 21 minutes, you can get between 10 and 80% charge. 0 to 60 is about 4.7 seconds, so it's kind of normal BMW. And even the weight distribution, 48.6, 51.4. I mean, how close can you get to a 50-50 weight distribution with a car that weighs nearly or over 5,700 pounds? That is crazy. There is a talk about the VC, but they did a survey 2,000 Nissan Pathfinder customers, and they want the V6. Yeah, I actually did read some blogs about that, but again, it's not 100% confirmed yet. So they may do the VC turbocharged for. I think that they'll probably keep the V6 only because they kept it during all this changeover, David, opposed to Infinity. I think the big change was going towards Infinity, going a little bit more eco-friendly, but you only get like 1 or 2 mpgs more. So that whole engine in the design, it was great when it came back out in 2019. It was groundbreaking, but overall, it's not something that's going to last like a naturally aspirated V6. The top speed at 130 miles per hour, we're looking at mid-2016 for that iX3. The performance numbers is great too. 463 horsepower, 476 pound-feet of torque. Level 2 charge is going to take about 11 hours. This is the issue with these electric vehicles. You can get these quick charges faster, don't get me wrong, but the damn home plug charge needs to be a lot faster, especially like even if you do a level 1, it'll take you like 4 days to charge these vehicles. For a level 1 charge, that's a regular home plug, it should only take 11 hours for that. In a level 2, it should take like 2 or 3 hours. Because realistically speaking, how many people are going to leave their vehicle charged for 11 hours? Nobody does. Because no one sleeps that long, and nobody stays in their house usually that long, especially if they're working. Now, if you're retired, it's a different topic. But they need to fix those issues, I think. Otherwise, these electric vehicles to me are just, they're not really moving forward. They're doing the same thing. Oh, it's 11 hours. It's 10.5. It's 9 hours. Come on, man. Who has that time to charge a freaking vehicle? The center screen basically is going to do everything. So a 17.9 inch, which is huge. I don't know why they keep going bigger. Optional 3D heads-up display, 43-inch panoramic iDrive display. That is what I've been talking about for months. I think since I started the first live stream, how they're implementing the curved panel that's going to go from side to, or from A-pillar to A-pillar on the front windscreen. That is awesome, but now we're not getting a gauge cluster. And it's going to be very intuitive because the center screen will also go onto that screen. So that's pretty cool. And you don't have to have all those screen configurations on the dash like Audi and Porsche is doing. But then what are we going to do otherwise? Usually BMW is doing the recycled materials, which I'm fine with that because it's an EV. But, I mean, come on. Is the XT5 rumor still true, not coming to the U.S. market after 2026? I need to decide for the wife. So right now, 26, they are doing the updates to the vehicle, which we already talked about. I'll just kind of brush over it really quickly, Michael. Give me 1 second. The updates, they're basically going to have a dark theme and a Onyx light package. And then the Sport and the luxury trim will have standard 360 camera, digital camera, heads-up display, automatic parking assist. The 27 variant, I haven't got full confirmation yet. I'm still looking through. I'm pretty sure they're going to keep it, though, because the way it looks, since they're doing some updates to the vehicle, more than likely they're going to keep it for 27. I know you were saying that your lease is coming up for your wife's XT5. So you should be fine even if it's more into the 2027, because they'll still have 2026 variants that you could possibly get that vehicle. So either way, you shouldn't be really concerned about that, doing that trade. Audi for the so I went to Audi this week. One of my other teams, I have 4 different teams I work with. And we brought the S5. Excited to do it because I haven't actually brought the S5 to the channel. I did bring the SQ5. You can see it in the when you go through the channel. And the S5 had a check engine light. So I actually returned it, and unfortunately it had some airbag issues. So we'll have to go back to that another day. This is now the 3rd time I've tried to do the S5 for some odd reason, having some issues. The R8, we're looking at late 2027. I'm very excited for that. The A8 EV looks like 2027, possibly we'll be getting that. And for 2026, no more A7 and S7. They're going to keep the RS7, so that's awesome. Always a favorite vehicle of mine. We have the S8 that we did, so we'll be bringing that in a Q8 Premium Plus. It had the executive package, the black optic package, had a whole bunch of things. The S5 is awesome. Yeah, the S5 is a very great, it's a fun vehicle. The Audi also is, so the A7 and the S7 is being replaced by the A6 Sportback. And there's not going to be any RSQ7 or RSQ9, unfortunately, but we'll still keep the SQ7 and SQ9. Meanwhile, this is a funny one for you guys. The GLC is the only certified vegan interior in the world. So if you guys are looking to be more in that vegan style, you want to go to the GLC. I'm getting S3, next car, no settling. Yes, yeah, the S3 is awesome. If you get, I mean, I know the RS3 is pretty expensive, but we're on its last years. You might want to look at the Golf R that is coming out. I talked about it on the last live stream. They're getting the same engine as the RS3, and they're getting all the guts. So the suspension, everything is going to be the same. It's going to be on their special edition, but you'd probably save about $10,000 to maybe $15,000. So if that's the case and you go Golf R, you probably are looking at like a 50 to 55 grand car. And when you go in Audi money, it's nearly $70,000. Volkswagen Group has to be careful. They just raised the MSRP of the Q5. Yeah, I know they did significantly. And the Q5, they have a lot of issues because of, with all the tariff talk, David, that they literally would have to raise it an additional increase in price. They didn't really justify how much, but they said that because of where it's built, they have multiple tariffs that would hit it, and that's one of their most popular vehicles that they sell. So if you're looking for a deal, you can kind of get them now. As for with the tariffs, whether they go in place or not, all these companies are going to go up in price. Keeps Audi in business. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's one of their #1 selling vehicles. And with, usually they have like 200-300 on a lot. But again, with whether they do the tariffs or not, they're going to increase the price. If they don't do the tariffs, because there's some issues right now where there's a lot of different lawsuits happening, then there's a possibility where it'll just kind of stay where it's a few $1,000 upgrade in price for you to pay. But then you also have the issues like everyone probably have seen with Hyundai, with their issues with illegal workers. I mean, there's just a lot going on with the auto industry. Between Premium Plus hits 70K now. I know. My brother got a SQ5 Premium Plus, and it was, I think he paid $67,000 out the door, roughly, with taxes and all. Otherwise, it would have been over 70 grand. But he got a little bit of a deal because he worked with one of my teams, and he bought it right when it came out. Don't do this, guys. Anyone that's watching, or if you're watching later on, do not buy the vehicle as soon as it comes out. Wait. Give it a few months. Let it sit on the lot. Let the other people take the money and spend it and waste it, because they're not going to get any deals. Going back to the GLC, we have a review on it. I actually almost bought this vehicle because when I looked at Mercedes, I said, you know what? It's 80 grand. You have 671 horsepower, 752 pound-feet of torque. But then I started looking at the numbers. 6 hours for a level 1 charge. A level 2 charge from 25 to 100% takes an hour and a half. It's a freaking plug-in hybrid, man. Come on. It needs to be faster. And then if you want it to be with all the bells and whistles, you're looking at 102,000, which I think that's how much the review one was that we showcased. And the worst part about it is it doesn't feel like an AMG. It feels like an AMG enhanced, meaning a fake AMG, even though the 0 to 60 is at 3.5 seconds. 6 months, they will be a discount that goes on. Yeah. So the discounts are going to be coming on the 25 variants and even 24 variants. They usually start coming around late October, November, and then they head all the way in to the final quarter, ending in December. The best deal time to buy is typically the first few weeks of December to the last days of December. If you start looking at that time for upgrading or trading in a lease or trying to get a deal, people are a little bit more receptive and they want to sell. So at this point, they literally will just give a vehicle. In most cases, you can get $5,000, $10,000 off. And I don't know if you guys know, but like GMC right now is doing, I think, 15 or 20% or 12% off or 15% off. BMWs are doing about 10% off. And if you are looking to get the X5 because the refresh is coming out, you can get in some cases up to 15%, but they have to be on the lot for at least a month. I wonder if once the EV incentive goes away, the used car market will boom again because people will want deals on those, and dealers will want cars. So with the electric credit that's going to be gone in the next few weeks, I think it's going to definitely hurt the market for EVs quite a bit. That's also why you're seeing a lot of the automotive industry start kind of shuffling their cards and saying, you know what, we're going to bring some ICE variants back or some plug-in hybrids, which only makes sense. As for deals, I mean, one of the things that I will say is more than likely the EV companies or anyone that's selling EVs are going to probably discount the vehicle. In most cases, some buyers don't even get that $7,500 credit anyways. So like I have a few neighbors that bought them and they couldn't get the credit. And this year, they were doing some things where if you bought the vehicle, they would give you the credit up front, but then in the taxes, you might pay it. There's so many different ways they try to entertain giving you a discount on these electric variants. There's deals on the M4, M3 now, guys. They are not selling as of now. They are, yeah. My brother got an M4. He got, I think, $8,000 off. He could have got more money if he would have went through me, just as an example. But he didn't go through me, and I know he probably could have got at least another $4,000 or $5,000. And normally for M3s or M4s, they don't give any deals at all. M3s, they're a little bit better with deals, and if they have any with the carbon bucket seats, you can usually get the carbon bucket seats for free because they don't move them very well at all. So usually that's like somebody ordered it or somehow somebody messed up in the configuration because it's like an $11,000 upgrade. If you were to get that vehicle and get the carbon bucket seats free, so you're getting basically 10, 11 grand off, and say you get another 8,000, you get nearly 20 grand off on an M3 or M4. If you were to trade that, you could actually make some money because the carbon bucket seats, they're actually sought off in the used car market, but not so much on the new market. I got 14 off. I know Burt Morgan. Oh, there you go. That's what I'm saying. Like, I knew my brother would have got a little bit more because I actually got a phone call and they were like, dude, like, why did he not tell you he was buying a car? And I said, I don't know. He knows that I work with you guys, and unfortunately, it is what it is. I'm not saying buy from me, but every company that I do reviews with will give you a deal. They've all told me multiple times. They've taken me on the side. I work with all the management, and in some dealerships, I work with the actual main manager of the dealership. So that's why I call them teams, because I don't work with salespeople. I do have salespeople that I work with, but my connections are past those people. MSRP 96. Oh, so you got a hell of a deal then. I mean, there you go. That's $82,000 on a near $100,000 car, you could probably sell that and make some money because people are looking, especially if it's a unique color. If you got like a green color, or if you got that blue color, it's very popular. A lot of people also like the that silver color. I forget the name of it now, but they did have this week. It was confirmed that we have the M5 Touring at our dealership. I'm going to see this in a couple of days if they still have it or if that was true or not, because the first one that they got was a sold unit. So somebody bought it, and literally as soon as it touched the showroom floor, the person picked it up. Yes, CarMax offered me nanny. Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you could literally make money. If you could find the same car, I would suggest you do it and make, 5-10 grand and just buy another one. And by doing that, you'll definitely get, if you didn't pay cash, if you're financing it, you won't have any issues financing it. And you just made yourself some money. You didn't really put any miles on the car. You get a new one. And you know what? I mean, you could keep kind of doing that. And within a few months, 510, 510, 510, you just made yourself a pretty good amount of money, David. That's what I personally would do. I mean, but source another one first. Morgan usually gets a pretty good amount of them. Depends on which dealership. Some in Tampa, I know that they get a little bit more of the M variants. In Wesley Chapel, they're starting to bring a lot more there too. I'm retired in the auto industry, so I am friends with many dealership owners. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. BMW South Miami had an M5 Touring. Yeah, so the M5 Touring has been a little bit harder to source because as soon as they get them, they literally are like sold. And most cases, the one that they supposedly have is a white one, and I don't think it's sold. I think that it was like a bought unit. Maybe somebody pre-ordered it and they didn't go through with it. But again, as soon as we get our hands on it, I'm excited to bring it to the channel. They also said that they have a green M5. So if they do, I might do a comparison. I know it's literally the same thing. Really, the only difference is it's a wagon opposed to a sedan. But that way you can see both of them side by side. Brett Morgan has 3 BMW dealerships down here. Yeah, he has. Well, they bought pretty much all of Tampa too. I mean, when Morgan came and started buying, I still remember because I was going into my teams and they're like, yeah, we were just bought by Morgan. I was like, oh, wow, okay. I think it's a good company. I seem to have had a lot of success with them. Almost everybody I work with seems to love what they're doing, so they seem to be doing a great job. I also work with like Superior and other dealerships too. Green M5 is nice. I see that a lot at my son's school on the dad's carpool. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, my brother bought a M4 Competition X-Drive. It's the green one, the coupe, and he seems to like it. I don't know. I feel like the green, it's nice, but I like some of the other colors too. They pop a little bit more so. The green, because they don't have a lot of like the M5 and the M4, you can see a little bit, like, it just stands out. Larry Morgan is a friend of my family, so I can get anyone hooked up. M5 are very soft by, yeah. Be careful, peeps. Yeah, the M5 right now, people, our dealership, and I think we've had 5, maybe 6 M5s since they've come out. 7 max. That's all I can think of. And I think I was able to review 3, almost more than half of them because the other ones were sold units. That being said, it's kind of like the XM. It's a vehicle that you either love it or you hate it because of the plug-in hybrid. It is a great vehicle. It's just you kind of have to get used to it, and most people don't really want a plug-in M5. But that being said, I mean, it is still an awesome car by any standard. I mean, it's like a 3-ton yacht that goes 0 to 60 and so freaking fast, it's insane. And charging isn't too bad, but again, it's a PHEV. If you just look at the engine specs, though, it's actually less than the M5 competition that it replaced with the PHEV. What's your opinion on the 2019 Genesis G90? Absolutely make sure you lease any luxury vehicle. The G90s, I like the G90s. If you can get the supercharged 5.0, the 5.0, you'll like it. It's an awesome vehicle. Power is great. Hey, how are you? I think this is the first, it's been a little while since I've seen you on the live stream. I'm one of those, change car every 18 months or so. I use your channel a lot for headroom references since a bit taller. Thanks for the video. Anytime. I appreciate that. And the new thing that we're doing on some new videos that will be coming shortly to the channel is I bring a tape measure now, so that way you can see, I'll tell my dimensions as well, 6'3", and then I also put in writing the headroom and legroom in the inches, and I also do it for the cargo. So I pull out the full tape measure so you can see the dimensions, so it makes it a little bit easier for those that are buying vehicles or going through vehicles. If you are buying them every 12 to 18 months, you may want to consider leasing, because that kind of makes it a little bit easier. Or, I mean, if you get a really good deal, you might be able, depending on the miles and depending on the car, you might be able to get it and drop it. Luxury vehicles, they are usually better to lease or pick up with a really good deal and drop it before the warranty ends. Because as soon as the warranty ends, in some cases, you're going to have some little issues, and those little issues are very expensive. My brother got rid of his Audi A5. He only had 32,000 miles. Warranty just ended 6 months, and he had a $9,500 problem that arose. And then when he got that fixed, because Audi North America paid for it, they said he had another $5,000 problem. So it was pretty crazy. Zach, I do that too. Anytime my lease is up early, I go out and just, yeah. If you can get it out of your lease early, that is a great way. Buy and say I'm switching forever, just end up switching. Just got a Audi A8. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, for the new Sequoia. Yeah, that's good. I also have a 2025 Mini Countryman S all 4 with the optional Pro. Not so many though. Fun car. Yeah, it's a pretty large car, the new Countryman. It's a great vehicle. It is a bit longer. I haven't been able to actually get the new JCW with that. They've literally only had one. We did bring to the channel the 2-door JCW. It's a funner vehicle than the base or the S. But it does have some styling elements that it would be nice if they tweaked, because the JCWs, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of the JCWs. It's just now I feel like that's the only variant you want to go into when you go into Mini. It's all BMW. Yeah, it is. I actually have a comparison with the Countryman versus the X1. I have them side by side on the channel. You can check it out. It's literally the same car. There is some differences, but it's not a huge, considering the price difference, the Mini's kind of the way to go. I don't find it fun at all. The extra power is nice, but the heavyweight isn't fun like old models. Yes, I know, Michael, you told me you had a lot of buyer's remorse on the Countryman. The JCW, like I said, I haven't been able to source the Countryman. The only one that we had, it wasn't actually meant for our dealership, so they had the stickers all over it. Don't touch, don't do this, can't drive it. I was told I could drive it, but because of the logistics and insurance, I said, you know what? I don't want my insurance to say, why are you driving a car that says do not touch it? So I didn't drive that one, but we did do the 2-door, like I said, the JCW. Those are the way to go when you go for Mini, especially with the redesign on all the new Minis. It does change the drive dynamics a lot, the power to it. There is some things that still are not that good, like not having a gauge cluster and just a heads-up display and some of the material inside, but the actual drive is still fun when it comes to the JCWs. So that's why I always highly recommend the JCWs. The S is okay, but really what unlocks the fun to drive is the JCWs. S is such a better deal than, yeah, that's why I did the review comparison against the X1. I think I have one on the channel with an X1 versus X2, basically the same car, just the coupe style opposed to the box style. If I was looking at a X1, I probably would go to the Mini, but because the X1 is a little bit easier to source the M Sport, I would probably go to the X1 instead. Yeah, the screens, I think so you have the new Mini Drive 9.0, which they don't even have the 9.0 in BMW yet. It's just kind of slow, and the coloring configuration, it's very like, I don't want to say like, it's just too playful in a sense, but they're not very vibrant, or it could be too vibrant depending on the way you do the settings on it. And I don't know, just not having that gauge cluster really is a little bit of a turnoff for me. And that's also something that's going to be coming with the new BMWs. More than likely, it's going to have that, 43-inch panoramic iDrive display, because that's what they're piloting for all of their new vehicles, especially if it goes onto the new platform design. So I'm expecting to see that into the X5, X6, but the X7, I don't think they may adapt that. So that is something that, I don't know. I always like the X7. I think they do an excellent job, especially with power and being such a big vehicle. My Mini S moves, listen, 240. It's pretty quick. So now I mean, I think they're great vehicles, but again, for full power, I always recommend people, if they get the opportunity, to try out the JCW. Usually the S is more than sufficient with power, but if you want it to be a little bit better suspension wise, the JCW, but then it can be a little bit more firm. One thing that I did note on the review is, like, I have 3 herniations and I don't actually have issues driving the Mini, where people say, oh, you can't drive a Mini because of suspension and this and that. It actually didn't really bother me much, obviously because it's lower to the ground. Getting in and out over time would hurt, but in the same category, like, that happens with every vehicle. You just make it work. My 2026 JCW, can't wait. Yeah, like I said, you'll be more than happy. We're going to conclude the live stream for this week. Thank you guys for coming out, and check out the community tab. Check out the membership. We do videos before they come out. We do different bloopers. We haven't been putting a lot of bloopers yet, but we're going to be adding some more there. We do the shorts, and we're also adding shorts usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And don't forget to check out the new channel, Supercar Throttle. We're going to be bringing more MC20 videos to that channel because it's a little bit more tailored to that. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you guys for coming out. You and I are there same. Yeah, the lease thing. Well, if I was leasing, I would get rid of a car probably every 12 to 18 months myself. Being a car guy, that usually happens. Thank you guys again for coming out. Have an excellent weekend, and see you on the next live stream.